Hi, welcome to Inside the Moms Club, where being a mom is the coolest place to be. Here in the Moms Club, we believe that what embarrasses you now will make a great story later. And let's face it, you don't laugh sometimes, you're gonna cry. Join us in having a good laugh together. I'm Monica Samuels. You are now inside the Moms Club, your private destination for all things mom. Hi, moms! Welcome to Inside the Moms Club. I'm Monica Samuels, and I'm here with my co-host, Julie Orchid. Hi, Julie. We have been having a great time here in Los Angeles together. But before, we needed this time, right? Because we just took our kids to college. And now yours is a little different experience. I took my son to move into an apartment. And he's learning all the ropes of moving into apartment, which including today, we learned the lesson that you don't apply for a store card just because they think or they tell you you're going to get a reward back. Because then you give away your social security number and a bunch of other things. And by the way, you're most likely going to be rejected. So that was the life lesson today to my college son at school. But you took your daughter to go on a study abroad.
I didn't take her.
You took her to the airport.
I took her to the airport where I'm pretty sure that they thought I was going to need a mental health officer because I was crying so hard. And it's so silly. She has been at college for 2 years. But for some reason, this was much, much harder. I was like waving goodbye and crying, and all the TSA was staring at me, I'm sure talking about me, and she was snapping pictures as she's going through security. Now, what you don't know is the chances of her Snapchatting something like, there's my crazy mom, why is she crying? I don't know, to all of her friends, and I'm over here crying, saying goodbye to her. So it's a crossover, I think, this time, that the children are growing to be adults and you have to let go. You don't have to answer every question they have. They have to figure it out on your own. And so that was for my tears.
Well, it's trickier for boys than girls because, okay, so here's what happened. You're okay with me telling this whole story, right?
Yeah, I guess. Okay. I don't know what you're going to tell, but I guess I have to say yes now.
Well, then I can make things
No, I'm
up.
kidding. No, I'm fine. I'm fine with it.
So Julie, because she really cares and she misses her daughter already at the airport. So she posts on Instagram like a 10-page tribute to her daughter, which is great.
God.
I mean, no, it wasn't that long.
Yeah.
Paragraph. But it was very emotional. Now, I will say, on the other side, had Monica posted that kind of thing that, Chase is going off to college.
Right.
I can't even tell you what he would have said. I mean, he would have been so aghast. I don't even think. But Georgia was good with that, right?
Yeah, I got a heart. I got a
that
like.
Was good. So that's thumbs up.
Yeah.
Then you did a second one, and then you did a third one, and I've been with Julie for the last few days, and she keeps getting calls from people. Are you okay? We just want to make sure you're all right. So,
I mean, people I've known for 30 years are like, listen, we think that we need to talk. We like Julie. And I was like, I don't care what you guys think. I miss that kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and just for the record, everyone, she is great. She is more than great. We're having a great time.
Yeah, she's perfectly fine. I'm fine.
Yeah. We have had a blast. We've gone to every Italian restaurant in Los Angeles. Yesterday, I took her. We went to Beverly Hills, and we went to Loro Piana. She put on the most beautiful cashmere cape.
It was a treat. I had to put it back, but it's a treat.
And being a good friend, I was trying to encourage her to just go ahead and get it, you know?
No.
Because it was so pretty.
Well, thanks.
But no, we've been having a great time. And we love fashion, so that's the amazing thing. So that is why we are so thrilled that we have a guest that knows so much about fashion with us today. She has a 20-plus year background in the fashion industry. Now, listen to this is a list. She's been a model, a fashion show producer, a fashion advice columnist, a TV personality, an adjunct professor, a PR and marketing executive, and she's the founder and CEO of Black Fashion Movement, and she's the principal consultant of Harper Street Consultant. welcome Frenchye Harris. Hi, Frenchye. Welcome to the Moms Club.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Well, we are so excited. Now, the one little thing I left out of your intro is you have a son
I do.
who is about the age of, like my oldest son is about the same age as your son. So do you understand what I'm saying when I said the son is a little different than the daughter in this sort of emotional kind of thing? Or maybe your son's not like my son. My son is just, he doesn't want me to get too, he doesn't want people to know I care that much, but then he wants to know that I care that much. So it's really tricky.
Of course.
Yeah.
So I relate with both. So I, like Julie, up until Jordan's senior year,
Yes.
cried every time we left each other, whether he was leaving home or whether I was dropping him back off at school. I cried.
Thank you, Frenchye.
And there was no doubt about it. He was waiting for it. He's like, I know my mom's going to cry. He got used to it. But also, I remember there's certain things that as a mom of a boy that you just can't do anymore. And I get the posting, being embarrassed. I remember that first started with me when Jordan was playing Pop Warner football. I think he probably was 11, and I was no longer allowed to pick him up from practice. No, it had to be like, Mom, you can't do this. There was just certain things that mom had to stay on when it comes to boys. And it started with me and him at about 11.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, now, for the record, too, I did cry, but only when alone because I couldn't do it publicly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so we want to hear your whole story. So you're like a fashion icon. You've done all of these things. Tell us how it started. How did you get interested in fashion? When did it start? And how did that lead to this great career that you have?
Sure. So honestly, I feel like it's in my DNA. My grandmother, once she became, after she retired from teaching, started working at a department store in the children's department when we were young. And so we were styled from head to toe from very early ages. And I've always had this fashion. She always had Vogue and Ebony and Harper's Bazaar. So I always was exposed to it. And then at 9 years old, I got the treat of attending the Ebony Fashion Fair with my grandmother and my mom and other family members. And from that point on, I was just blown away and hooked. I didn't really know exactly what I was seeing, but I knew I wanted to be involved, and I wanted to deal with models and luxury retail and fashion, lights, camera, action, all of that. And so I actually started modeling in 8th grade, all through high school and college. And then when I went to college, I'm an Ohio State Buckeye, and majored in fashion merchandising. I thought that I wanted to be a buyer until I realized that you just really are sitting behind a desk crunching numbers. And no, I needed to be in Europe and looking at these models and this luxury fashion and these amazing fashion shows, but that just wasn't it. And so I started doing, working the special events office at a department store called Jacobson's, which is very similar to like a Neiman Marcus, a family-owned business at the time, and doing just that. The fashion shows and the trunk shows and booking the models and the set design and things like that. And did that for several years until the company went out of business. Thought then I wanted to do this thing called fashion styling. But what I really wanted to do was events marketing and PR. So I went back and got my master's degree in PR and started my company called Style DNA and started working with these amazing clients and retailers and nonprofits to really start to do fashion in areas that didn't always think about it. So if a nonprofit wanted to do a fundraising event, but wanted to touch a different audience or reach a different clientele and had different fundraising goals, they might infuse fashion. And it wouldn't be your typical runway show. It would be something over the top because I don't do anything typical. Of course not. And so I was doing that and doing all of the fashion shows at the malls in Ohio. At this point, I was living in Cleveland, I was the fashion show producer for all the mall shows. And I was the style editor of Cleveland Magazine and did all the on-air commentary for anything fashion that was happening in the city at the time.
So, and then
After that, I moved to Chicago, where I am now, and I was working for a luxury retailer, got kind of fed up there and just said, hey, I'm just going to do my own thing again.
That's great. So let's jump to 2020. You see that there's a need, and you start the Black fashion movement. So can you describe that? Because that's also an interesting time to start something. It's a pandemic. So tell us a little bit about why you started that and how that started.
Absolutely. There you are. Okay. So I was working for this luxury retailer. I am one of, I don't know, I couldn't count it, less than on one hand how many Black executives were in the company. So at that point, it looked like that there wasn't really a true pathway for me to ascend. But then also when I was looking around at my counterparts, no one looked like me. And the products that I was selling wasn't created by anyone who looked like me. And so I started to get a little bit frustrated because I knew that there was so much talent. I knew that there were some amazing fashion designers that happened to be African American. I knew that there were some amazing products, beauty products that were out that were created by African Americans, and we just didn't carry them. And I would hear all the time, I would love to support, I just don't know where to find it. And so I solved that problem. And so I started something called the Black Fashion Movement, and we create these luxury retail experiences all over the country that feature products created by Black people, not for Black people, but by Black people.
And so this is like a pop-up, is it not, Frenchye?
Yes. Yes. So the first one was in Dallas in 2020. Right around Juneteenth, and I had it at the Galleria for 5 days, and I featured 12 brands, because they aren't all fashion designers. Some of them were beauty creators. Some of them were shoe designers as well, or handbag designers. And I featured 12 in a space at the Galleria. We were sold out. The brands were going home empty. We were there for 5 days. We were open a total of 36 hours. Every day we had a line out the door. We were stationed right across from Gucci. I'm proud to say that our line was longer than Gucci at the time.
You picked the right place too, because I'm from Dallas. And as we know in Dallas, the things to do are eat and shop, because there really is nothing else to do. And we love shopping. So I know exactly where you were. So that was a great place to start that.
Well, stop right there, because you said June what? 2020?
June 2020. Yeah.
How'd that go for you with COVID? I mean, it was such a big year for.
So interesting enough. Well, I live in Illinois, and COVID felt like COVID here. So we were shut down on so many fronts. But in Texas, there were a lot more leniency when it came to COVID regulations.
Texas is lenient.
So we were able to, we worked with the mall and we worked with the city to make sure we would stay within COVID guidelines as far as the number of people that were allowed in the store at a time. We couldn't require masks because the masks were optional at the mall. So we did mask optional in the store. And we just really monitored the number of people we had within the space.
So were you discouraged at all by it being 2020 and you've started this Black fashion movement, and did you wonder at all where it's going to go with all the restrictions around the country?
Actually, I didn't think that wasn't a worry.
Oh, good.
It wasn't a worry of mine because I knew it always within my contracts that I have with the locations and with the designers' contracts that they have with me. We follow the guidelines in whatever city or establishment we're in.
How did you?
And so I will.
Oh, go ahead.
And I was going to say, and I will say that no one that I know about got sick from any of the events that I did.
How did you reach out? How did you select, or did the designers come to you and say, this is an awesome, like, did you choose among 100, or how did that process start for the first one?
So I reached into my network and I sent out kind of like a designer call. I contacted, different people from the CFDA, from the Black Design Collective, other designers that I had personal relationship with, and they all had to apply to participate.
Yeah.
So they would apply, and then we had an interview process, and that process meant, looking at their collection, looking at their following, looking at their sales the previous year, what they were doing this year. If we got orders, were they able to be fulfilled? And so after that process, and then we started to narrow down to make sure what made sense in the store, because we didn't want to have, if I had space for 12, I didn't want 5 of them to be women's wear. I wanted to have a good balance, because when you walked into the environment, it needed to be set up like a true retail boutique. And that's exactly what it was. So we had shoe brands, beauty, jewelry, makeup, a resort section, men's, home, and and women's. Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's great. So now, how many of these events have you had since?
I've had 4 in a year. So this past June, I was in Los Angeles.
And I think I understand they've made about $500,000, 500,000.
So all together, the events, the designers that have participated in the events collectively, they have grossed over $500K.
That's amazing. Yeah. And have you seen more of these designers come back and say, you know what, we've been picked up by more retail stores? Because what you're trying to achieve is you're being successful at.
Yeah.
Well, sure. And so one of the things in Dallas, I have friends that are buyers. I have friends at Neiman Marcus. And so some of them came to visit and fell in love with a lot of the brands. I had a brand from Dallas get picked up by the gift shop in the Jewel Hotel. And I've had brands that have been picked up by Saks Off Fifth. And I have friends that brands that have been talking with Saks Fifth Avenue regarding in the shoe area. So part of me in creating this retail outlet for the brands is also exposure, right?
Yeah.
So that they can maybe secure a retail relationship. But in the meanwhile, they still need to sell. So I try to be in the gap to still expose them to different communities around the country so that they can be earning income and to be economic sustainable.
Do you have any, now it's like asking who are your favorite children? So you love them all, right? But
I love them all.
Name some that you would find, just examples, because these aren't all of them, but share with us some of the brands that you've loved, that you've featured in this, that the audience might be interested in checking out themselves.
Sure. So I get that question a lot. And so one of my favorite brands is a sustainable denim brand.
She's writing.
I'm ready.
Julie's taking notes for us. Go.
So there is a sustainable denim brand called Oak and Acorn. Oh. It's actually carried at Nordstrom's.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's super exciting. I mean, that's
so Oak and Acorn. It's awesome. It's sustainable denim in the point that the way that the materials are created and the way that it's construction, it protects the earth. So it's not harmful to the environment. They have an amazing story about the lineage of denim in America and how it really started with the slave trade, which I didn't know. I learned that with indigo being part of the American slave trade, being one of the commodities, but also how denim has been a part of the African American culture since slavery at different points in history, which I didn't know. There's a beautiful video on their website that illustrates that.
So that leads to a question for me, is that was that part of their story and what they have and how they present it is maybe possibly how you picked them to be, one of the designers. You know what I mean? Is that part of the process, the application process, or you see how something is made or how they're, advertising it? Can you speak to that, where their creative side is blossoming?
Absolutely. So I will tell you this. Being an entrepreneur, I get the opportunity to pick who I want to work with, right? So if there is not a good energy, if the personalities are not meshing well, then I have the right not to pick you, as beautiful as your product is.
Yes.
However, this particular designer, her name is Nico Underwood, is fantastic. And I didn't know her. We first had a conversation together and immediately felt the energy. And what she was doing was secondary. It was almost as if the personalities matched so well together So then the product just spoke for itself so beautifully.
That's awesome.
And so I have several, and I love denim anyway. I was an avid denim buyer anyway. And so to be able to feature her is amazing.
Yeah, it was an honor, I'm sure.
Are there any younger ones that you were able to kind of, 'cause being an entrepreneur, you can also share your story and your journey and kind of encourage younger people. Are there younger designers, younger brand owners that you're really thrilled they're in their early 20s and you're helping to get their start?
Absolutely. So there is a brand, oh my gosh, I have her, oh my gosh. We carry her, and then she's also in Saks. And why can I not think of the name of this brand?
It's okay. It happens to Monica.
It
happens
will
to Monica.
Come to me,
Not
she's only 20. She's 25. She just turned 26. She lives in LA.
Yeah.
She has an amazing brand. I wish I had my phone.
Is it possible? Can people look and see who was featured on?
Yes,
that way they can just check it out and look and see.
Absolutely. So you can follow me at the Black Fashion Movement on social media.
Great.
So
Okay.
Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, we can definitely.
And then also the Black Fashion Movement, all spelled out.com. So the brand, I just thought of it, is Izaya. It's Izaya. They have it at Saks Fifth Avenue. It's a beautiful contemporary line.
I love that.
Super chic.
I love that. It brings me
Very
to a question
chic, yeah.
that, and I don't know I'm about this particular designer, but because we're inside the Moms Club, I have a question because your son is now 26. I think a lot of people are transitioning to how do you define yourself once your children are grown? And I think that you may have a lot of expertise on that, on, how do you recreate yourself? You know what I mean? After you've had children, and can you tell us a little bit about how you did that? Because I know this question is on every mom's mind. How do I become my own self again?
So that is a great question because I had Jordan young. I was 20 when I became a mother. I was a junior in college and we grew up together, right? So all of my adult life, I was a parent.
Yeah.
So all of my decisions were based on what was best for him. So that didn't always lend to what I wanted to do,
Exactly.
but what was best for him.
Right.
But I was given the privilege, or it was to be able to do fashion because I knew this is what I wanted to do. But I always picked opportunities that lended to me being available to him. Even in grad school, when I was getting my master's, I picked my classes around his football schedule.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be present, right? And so then here we go, he's graduating and in college, and it's like, okay, now,
who am I?
What do I do?
Yeah.
Right. I felt, one of the things I will say, I was raised by dynamic, phenomenal women. So I knew to always be able to hold on to me. So I don't feel like I lost me, but I didn't know how to concentrate on me, if that makes sense. Because everything was about,
Right.
the family and kids. And so now that we're empty nesters, it's like I had to reteach myself how to think about Frenchye.
Yeah, it's not about being sad that that's over, but how do I be me? Like, how do I recreate myself?
And like how, and understanding like that's totally fine. And so when moms get so wrapped up into just their kids and they lose themselves, you can't, because those kids are gonna leave.
That's what we.
They're gonna leave us.
That is true. I wrote a book called Comeback Moms years ago, and we went on a tour, and I said, the beauty of this book is for all moms, because if you're a successful mom, your kid will leave you. I mean, that's a successful mom. That's you're still a mom. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's true. Well, and so what, in line with Julie's question, I was thinking while you were talking about all the different designers, for those of us moms who've become more, let's just, for lack of a better phrase, become a more full-figured girl for the moment anyway. We're hoping to, so once you get to that point and you're on the other side and the kids, you've had all the cupcakes with them and you've experienced that in life, but now you're wanting to be feeling good about yourself. How do you you transition? You obviously you hope to lose weight and all that, but can you recommend some fashion tips on making yourself feel really good right now as you're about to go into that next awesome phase of your life when you're back in the bikini that your husband bought you that was like very strange.
Monica,
bikini.
I don't know who you're.
That's a story.
I was like, speak for yourself.
Well, no, I won't be wearing that. But anyway, no. So any good suggestions? And I too now am taking notes. So.
And I think you touched on it, though. I think you already touched on it. I believe in embracing and loving yourself where you are right now.
Yeah,
that's
period.
True.
Presence, not perfection.
Period. Because
true.
And because we're always evolving, right? We're always evolving. There's always going to be something that we want to perfect or make better. Mm-hmm. But I don't believe that those opportunities really happen until you embrace where you currently are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good.
And no one of the things you learned when your kids leave and you become an empty nester, no one's going to love you like you. So,
no one is coming to rescue you. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
Yes. So don't let that go. And then don't get discouraged if you did eat all the ate the cupcakes all the years. If you did 40 changes things, honey. 40.
That's true.
Listen,
in some cases, you don't even have to eat that many cupcakes, and they're just, one will do it.
No,
so
we're losing hair. We're wearing glasses. I mean, yeah.
So, but that's the beauty of fashion and what you do. There's so many things you can do to make yourself feel amazing. I mean, it's that's what I love about fashion.
Don't look at. Absolutely. And forget about what the tag says. Who cares? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Go for the fit and not the size.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because so many people get caught up like, oh my God, I don't want to wear a 12. I don't want to wear a 12. Well, 12 and this brand and that brand and this brand over here are all different anyway. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is so go
true.
For what fits you.
Well, you can answer that question too. These designers, some of them, they'll bring you a size 6 and it fits you, even though Talbot's you're a size 12 or what. Like, it is very different. I mean, and it seems to be more the luxury designers that seem to try to make you feel like you're smaller. I mean, maybe I'm misreading that, but I always wear a smaller size if it's one of the better designers than if I, just go shopping.
Yeah.
For, is that a thing that they do, or is that just
vanity sizing? Vanity sizing. European cuts are still going to be small.
Yeah.
But American brands do utilize vanity sizing quite a bit. And that's why I say you can't, and things are being produced all over the world now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can't really go on one size. You just got to go with what fits you and what feels good on your body. Ignore the size.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I believe that because I was just in Italy and no matter how large 2XL, 3XL, 4XL, they're all tiny, you know, so.
Tiny, yes.
Very, very different. Yes. Well, we are very excited that we have our Zoomer moms to join us today and ask you some questions, Frenchye. So come on in, Zoomer moms.
Yay! Hi, Zoomer moms.
Hi, so fun to hear everything about your career.
Well, we're going to go around and introduce each one, and please introduce yourself. Tell Frenchye a little bit about yourself, and then you're welcome to ask Frenchye a question. So our first Zoomer mom is Angela Stalker. Welcome to the Moms Club, Angela.
Hi, hello.
Hi, Angela. How are you?
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Angela.
I am in Los Angeles. I am a mom / entrepreneur. Okay. I actually have a brand called Highly Crafty where I make cannabis-themed home decor, purses, and I'm actually starting to do clothes because I make my own clothes.
Nice.
And
awesome.
So I'm wanting to branch out into fashion. So this was really perfect for me, actually.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. So I just kind of wanted to know more about how you like what speaks to you or what stands out to you with the brands that you choose?
So I look at things holistically. One, because we create a luxury shopping experience, our price points need to be consistent to what you would find in a luxury department store, starting from contemporary through designer. So that can be $250 for a dress, $400 for a pair of shoes, something that you would typically find, I always say, in a Neiman's, Nordstrom's, or Saks, or a high-end boutique. That's my background is in luxury, so that's why I stick with that. That's where my my fashion eye goes to. And so, but also when people typically think about Black designers, it's always in a like streetwear, streetwear or hip hop. And we do more than that. And so it's really, so my eye is, if I can put this in a Neiman's, Nordstrom's, or Saks, then it can come into the Black fashion movement, luxury shopping experience.
That's great. Jennifer Marsh, tell Frenchye a little bit about yourself, and do you have a question?
Hi, I'm so excited to hear about your pop-ups because I actually went to something similar in LA, and I don't know if it was yours, but it was really so fun. And it reminded me of times when I'd shopped. I've lived a lot of places, and times when I'd shopped like in Adams Morgan, or I actually had, when I was in 10th grade, I had an amazing opportunity to go shopping in Nairobi in Kenya.
Beautiful.
That's so eye-opening to see what they did with jewelry, like the way they would weave silver. I still have a pair of earrings that I love that I bought there that they still feel contemporary to me today. So, but I have to admit, like I kind of come from a totally waspy, preppy background, and I like hard for me to get out of my comfort zone sometimes. So if you're going to go for a splurge and kind of step out of like what you feel like is your safe style, I mean, what items do you think make the biggest difference to sort of like spark up a wardrobe that maybe, you know, you don't want one day to show up looking like you're wearing someone else's clothes?
So start with accessories.
Okay.
Add your splash of color on your feet or in your handbag.
Okay.
Because that's something you can switch out very easily, or even your jewelry. Because what you don't want to do is, like you said, show up not where it's even other people are like, who is she? Who does she think she is? But you need to be comfortable in what you're wearing and how you're feeling, because that's gonna project a different energy to the people that in the room, in the spaces you're in. So you got to be confident and know that when you leave the house that you are beautiful. And that what you're wearing just enhances the beauty that you already have within.
Yeah,
I love that advice. It's always fun to try on shoes. So you know they always say.
Yeah. So look, when you are in, I always say this. So if you are in the shoe department and you always go to the black booty or the black pump, switch it and go over and pick up the animal print.
Okay.
Yes, Jennifer. Yes.
Yes, Jennifer.
I have to admit that I have a pair of snakeskin pumps that one day I will wear out of my house, but I keep putting them on and putting them back. And that's what I'm saying. Like I think about these snakeskin pumps, and I'm like, I know I should wear them.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Comfortable. I love them, but I put them on and I'm like, can't do it. I just can't leave the house with them.
Yes.
So
that is great advice.
Tomorrow you are wearing those pumps.
Okay. So I'll do it.
That is great advice. Frenchye,
my white top and my jeans. Yeah.
All of Jennifer's
exactly
friends,
right. Yes.
Thank you, because yes, Jennifer, I was with her shopping and she put on this dress. She looked amazing. It was navy and white, and she was afraid it was too loud. I'm like, navy and white is not loud. It's like, you look great. So that's great advice.
It's a very bold print. Yes.
Well, no, it was good. It was nice. Judith Foster Thompson, welcome to the Moms Club, and introduce yourself to Frenchye and ask a question.
It's so nice. Yeah, hi. It's so nice to meet you. I love what you're doing. I think it's amazing. Like the fact that you found this need that wasn't being fulfilled, and that you have such a strong background that you can contribute. I'm a mom. My children are all grown. I'm a full-time caregiver for my 91-year-old mom. And yeah, and I'm a filmmaker. So I have a very creative kind of eye. Like I love fashion, but I'm finding, because I'm 55, what is expected of me in the as far as fashion goes, it seems very tame. It seems very Chicos. And I'm like wondering if like in your pop-ups, do you encourage to have older models for your, your shows? Because I'm just like, I follow some older models, but I'm finding myself in need of wanting to feel represented, more of a outgoing, creative, older woman.
Okay, so first of all, you have put 55 to shame.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't think that they're older. I just think they're seasoned.
Yes.
Exactly. So, and I also, when they say, remember on Dirty Dancing, and they said, don't put baby in a corner. Nobody puts baby in a corner. Don't let anybody put you in a box. You wear what you want to wear. You know what looks good on you, and you know what's going to make you look good, or like I said earlier, make you feel beautiful from the inside out. But I see articles, well, should she wear that because she's 55? Hello, J-Lo looks damn good in everything she puts on, and she's in her 50s. I don't care. Some people 25 shouldn't be wearing that.
Yeah.
It's not an age thing. It's really about the appropriateness of the style and fit on your body.
Right.
I don't think there's an age thing. I mean, you're a woman of a certain class. I can tell you're not going to run around in something that you wouldn't wear anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't think age has to do with that. I think it's really your personal taste level and the way that you want to look and the image that you want to portray. And like I said, size and fit is the most important thing.
That is great advice.
Thank you.
And we love you for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I always feel like what we present that day is almost like we're telling a story for that. Today I am the, for me, that's kind of the fun of clothing is what story am I telling today about myself
I wouldn't let anybody box you in based on what they think you should be doing because of your age.
Yeah, there's a gazillion YouTube videos, what to wear, what not to wear over. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's stifling.
A little bit along that line of thinking though. So as I'm going through, my husband really always wants me to clean out my closet because I do save clothes forever. So I have some clothes that I loved them when I was, in my 20s and 30s. What do you recommend about when to get rid of, let your clothes go, I should say. Get rid of is sort of harsh. But like, do you think your closet should change up like every couple of years if you haven't worn it? I've heard advice to if you haven't worn it in a year, throw it or give it away. What are your thoughts about that? Or do you think they're truly vintage pieces that I should hang on to that dress I wore, to my college graduation?
No.
That's a great question.
I can answer my own question.
Well, you know what? This is a thing. Fashion just keeps coming back.
Yeah.
So, and so I think when you spend money and buy the right pieces, they're not the hot trend of the moment, but you buy the right pieces, they're investment pieces, it's quality fabrications, they're well made. Those things, when that style comes back around, because it will, you will be able to wear it again.
Yeah.
So I don't think you have to, you keep everything, but I think there are some certain special pieces that you've invested in, and the fashion comes back around. It's not going to change that. The style is going to come back. The fabrication, the colorway may change a little bit, but there's going to be certain pieces that you can keep and that you will be able to wear 20 years from now. Yeah. You will be able to, 10, 20 years from now, because you've made that investment and style keeps repeating.
Well, thank you. Yes, and I'm going to take that what you just said and show it to my husband. That's going to play that little clip over and over again when he tells me you're invading my side of the closet. Like, well, no, I need to keep this. Helen Savage from Arlington, Virginia, welcome, and tell Frenchye a little bit about yourself and if you have a question.
Hi, Frenchye. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you? I was just in your neck of the woods. I was in the DMV last weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, you were? Well, you can come and do a pop-up here. I tell you, I've found some of my best fashion pieces at little pop-ups in Georgetown and things like that. So let me know. I'm already following you on Instagram. So.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
But so Monica kind of stole my question about how to find what feels right on you after a certain age or you've gained some weight. And so I, met my husband at 39, got married at 41, had my first and only child at 45, and she's now 11.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So, and I was in the best shape of my life. I mean, just everything was great for like the first 2 or 3 years. And then it's just, this downhill. And so I have the reverse problem of Jennifer. I love bright clothes and I love, classic pieces and tons and tons of, beautiful jackets and every color and all these great clothes. But I find myself, as Judith talked about, going to Chico's now because that's what fits my body. And that's what I kind of find to go with some other classic pieces like my little Lily Pulitzer top I'm wearing right now. But I just don't feel comfortable in my body, which makes me then feel not comfortable in my clothes.
Okay.
And so, like, that denim jumpsuit you had on in one of your Instagram or one of photos. I mean, is that from that same denim company that you mentioned, Sustainable?
The one it's in a more recent picture. It's like a dark denim. It's not. No, that's from a brand called In Earnest out of New York City.
It's spectacular. But I like long lines. I'm 5'8.5", but again, you just get to a point and just like, I want to just throw on a muumuu all the time and, be done with it. But they don't always look good on you either, no matter what size you are. Any particular brands that kind of help with that? And I've also got the, conflicted. I want to wear my hair like all nice and curly and, not the flat ironed or, what's that? Brazilian blowout. And, I feel like I've got a conflicting fashion kind of style thing now at this age.
It sounds like you're in a spot where you are kind of transitioning to where you're getting to a place where you're trying to figure out, okay, what is my style personality? Who am I now? And what looks good on me now? And so one of the best pieces of advice I can give you to start is your mind. Is making up your mind of who you are and how you want to show up in the world. And so, because it sounds like
great advice.
It sounds like you have like, okay, I have this desire, right, of how I want to look and how I want to be, but then something over here is holding you back a little bit.
Yeah.
And you have to figure out what is that holding you back and why. And as far as brands, that most brands now are increasing their size range, primarily because the average size American woman is a 14 and 16. And what brands have realized, if they're only stopping at 12, they're leaving a lot of money on the table. And so, I mean, Chico's is great. It's convenient. But it didn't sound like that's where you always wanted to shop.
No, it isn't. No. Actually, you know what? I bought my maternity clothes there. I bought maternity clothes because I couldn't find maternity clothes, at my age for, what I wanted to be wearing, and especially for work. And so, and now that everybody's working at home, I feel like, we're in a more casual environment. I've got all those, blazers and pantsuits and, all the stuff that I'm, am I going to wear them again? Maybe not.
I mean, I think the advice that
differently.
Well, like you said, with accessories, I do have one pair of leopard shoes, so I might have to gift them to somebody because after I broke my ankle, I can't wear them anymore. So
yeah.
Oh no. Okay. Well, see, then that's another thing I think you're dealing with is you had some issues. You broke an ankle, so there's some things that are happening that have kind of, I don't know. It sounds like you have this desire, but then you have this hesitation. And I'm always about pushing the envelope to get to your best self.
Yeah.
And so,
Great advice.
And the other thing is, when it comes to mothering and being a mom, the best gift that we can give our children is being our best self.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That is
it really is. They need to see us shining. They need to see us happy. And because that is how they become, they understand, they need to see us love and being loved and giving love. That's how they become confident.
Yeah.
And that's how they make bold decisions, because they saw us comfortable enough to choose and make those bold decisions for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
my
love
mom
that.
was
That is
was and is obsessed with the size. If it says whatever size, I don't care what the size says. If it looks great on me, it could be a 16
Looks
or
great.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
12, 14, but yeah, no, I don't care about the size. I care about how it looks and how it feels. So yeah, that's great advice. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice
There
brand.
is a brand, when you're thinking about working from home, I want you to look at it, Nordstrom. So, or you can look at their site on their own. It's called Diarra Blue. It's DIARRA. Then the second word is blue, BLU.
Mm-hmm.
And they do have increased size ranges, but very beautiful prints, beautiful styling, but easy styling.
Yeah. I think if you're at home, you still need to, you know what I mean? Every once in a while, you can dress up and, do exactly what you're saying. Make how you feel good about yourself and what makes you feel beautiful.
And to make a little bit of an effort like that. And this won't surprise any of my friends, sadly. But many years ago, when the kids were little, there was one summer where my mother told me, she said, Monica, every time I see you, you're wearing a Mickey Mouse shirt. Because we go to Disney World a lot. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm not making the effort. And I needed to. And that was a wake-up call to me that, I need to get dressed and dress up. And the other thing is something that Helen was saying, I broke my foot. And so I can't wear heels anymore.
Right.
So it's just making adjustments, because there's some lovely shoes that they don't have to be 6-inch heels to really look stunning. So it's just doing that. Well, Frenchye, our time is flown by, because this has been so much fun and so informative. Remind everybody again where they can find you on social media.
Absolutely. So you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Black Fashion Movement, all spelled out. And then we also have a website that's theblackfashionmovement.com, all spelled out. And
That's
we
great.
have on the social media, you can definitely find different brands to follow and to shop with. And you can do that on the website. It talks a lot more about our events, but it also has some shout outs to brands.
That's great. And just as a close here, if you can give us one designer that we're an up-and-comer that we were the first to hear about this person, but we're going to hear a lot. Can you think of somebody?
Yeah.
First to hear about.
Because I love my husband knows everything about fashion and all that stuff, and I would love to surprise him with, hey, I knew about that person, or have you heard of this person?
Up and coming that would be first to hear about.
Now you probably know a lot of them because you just know them.
So that's I'm like, well, what do you know? So I do want to brag about. There is a shoe line that all of us here would really enjoy. It is called Salone Monet.
Ooh.
And she creates a nude shoe for every skin type. So every one of us on here would be able to find our perfect nude.
Oh, wow. That is amazing.
Look at Jennifer just got super excited. She was like,
that is great. Yeah, she was writing that down.
Yeah.
And I am too. Well, thank you again, Frenchye. This has been amazing. We really appreciate it. And I just, like I said, I can't believe the time is flying. We also want to thank our sponsor, Good Company, and they are a women's clothing store in Austin, Texas. They have thoughtfully curated clothing and jewelry, and they support emerging and established designers. One of the designers is a black designer, Isabel and Cleo, which is one of their designers they feature.
Love when she comes.
And you can find them at goodcompany.shop. And you can find us at Inside the Moms Club on Instagram. We also have a webpage, Inside the Moms Club, which is going to have a lot of fun stuff. We want to feature some of you moms out there. So send us fun videos, fun stories. If you don't want to do your own video, I have no shame. Send me your funny idea, and I will try to turn it into a funny video. Let's make this fun, because that's what we're all about.
Yes.
Well, we will be back next time with celebrities and extraordinary moms just like you. We know that your me time is precious and valuable. Thank you so much for spending some of it with us. Remember the Moms Club motto: if you don't laugh sometimes,
you just might cry.
And nobody wants to cry. So keep laughing, moms. We'll see you next time on Inside the Moms Club.